Hello everyone, and welcome to the easiest solo guide for fighting Arch-Tempered Nergigante. That's right, even if you don't have a lot of skill, even if you don't have friends to backpack you through the fight, you can still easily defeat him and collect the tickets that you need in order to craft the Arch-Tempered Nergigante armor. In fact, you definitely want to pick up the armor chest because it is one of the new best chest pieces in the game. So what you see here is a cluster bombing build. I'm going to be cluster bombing Arch-Tempered Nergigante. If you've never heard of cluster bombing, it is one of the strongest ammo types for heavy bowguns. It's kind of infamously known for being too strong. Capcom still hasn't nerfed it, which is fine, I guess, because, if you're having trouble collecting something like this piece of armor, it allows you to easily craft that armor. So if you've never cluster bombed before, be sure to stop and go watch my popular cluster bombing guide. It goes into full detail on how it works. If you've already seen that or you already understand how cluster bombing works, go ahead and continue watching the guide. The build's at the end, by the way, so if you're just curious for the build, you can go see that. However, if you're watching here, you're going to see all of my strategy and you're going to understand my thought process, and I'm going to explain it in detail for you. So your first question might be, why did you start with the temporal mantle? We want to use the temporal mantle with the cluster bombs because he can't do any damage to you. He can't kill you when you're wearing the temporal mantle. We're trying to get rid of all of our cluster bomb ammo as fast as we can because it's just the best way to get damage on him. And as soon as the temporal mantle breaks, it's going to go into recharge. And we want the temporal mantle recharging as soon as possible. That means it'll be recharging while we're using the Rocksteady mantle. So that's kind of my reasoning there. In stage 1 of the fight, there's 2 falling boulders. Notice I haven't dropped the boulders yet. My goal is to put him to sleep under the boulder when he's getting ready to leave to the next location. So what you're essentially doing is you're getting as much damage as you can on him, and then when he's ready to leave, you're dropping the boulders on him. Alright, you can see he did do a little bit of damage. He used an attack that the temporal mantle won't evade. He used one of those attacks on me, but no problem. My Palico went ahead and healed me. Each time I run through the cluster bombs, I have to reload it. It has a very long reload animation, and while I'm reloading, I do craft more cluster bombs. You have to craft them at level 1, then you have to craft them up to level 3, because we're using level 3 cluster bombs. Alright, we're just getting tons of damage on him. Now, you could never really do this in multiplayer. If you try to do this in multiplayer, pretty much everyone has to be doing it with you, or you're going to end up knocking your teammates away. Probably somebody's going to post a speedrun showing 4 people using cluster bombs, and it's going to get him killed in, I don't know, probably like 5 minutes. So, or maybe sub 5 minutes. Cluster bombing, as you can see, is very easy. And that's why I call it the easiest solo method of taking down Arch-Tempered Nergigante. He's going after my cat. Arch-Tempered Nergigante is interesting. He seems to trade aggro between players very evenly. So he attacks you once or twice, he moves on to your friend, he attacks your friend once or twice. So the Palico here really is kind of taking the pressure off of you. It can also cause you to miss some of your cluster bombs, but that's not a big deal because having the pressure taken off of you is nice when you need to trade over your mantles like I did when I have my Rocksteady mantle here now. Okay, so you can see me shooting him a few times with the sleep ammo. What am I doing there? I'm setting him up to put him to sleep very quickly when I want him to go to sleep. Okay, so you have to build up that sleep ailment before it actually procs, and if you get some of it built up ahead of time, then you're ready to go when he's in the right position. You're ready to really make him go to sleep when he's in the right position. There he is. He's got the black spites, but that's okay. We're just going to guard it. No problem. You can see we still have stamina left after he uses the move, and the stamina just comes back. I'm looking for an opening to use another Wyvern shot. Here it is. That's Wyvern ammo. Wyvern ammo, by the way, is terrific for healing. We're going to go ahead and grab this Vigor Wasp spray too. Very convenient. Every time we see him hurt, our Palico seems ready to heal us. It's really not, I like that skill I always have. So he's ready to go off to the next stage, and I'm going to drop this pillar on him. But look, first I put him to sleep. There it is. Like I said, I set up the sleep ammo on him so that when I'm ready to put him to sleep, I can put him to sleep very quickly. Here's the Mega Barrel Bombs. These are going to be part of the Wake Up attack, but we don't want to wake him up with any of our ammo or the Barrel Bombs. We want to wake him up with the Falling Boulder because the Falling Boulder does the most damage, and it's going to get the Wake Up attack multiplier. So there's a damage multiplier that you get for having the Wake Up attack. We're going to use our sleep ammo to drop the boulder. There it is, and then we're going to go right into the Wyvern ammo while he's down. There it is. Now, if we had been a little bit more careful, maybe we could have shot him in the wing, and then when he stood up, we could have shot him in the horns, and that probably would have given us another knockdown. I didn't really think it through that far. I also make another mistake here. I failed to drop the second boulder on him, right? So you really want to drop the second boulder, but I do miss him, and that means I missed out on about 3,000 damage. If I had gotten that 3,000 damage, it really would have jumped me ahead in the fight. Oh, actually, I don't know if it's 3,000. For multiplayer, it's 3,000. I don't know what it is for solo play. I didn't even look at the numbers. I didn't have to. Alright, so we're back at camp. We're going to go ahead and refresh our ammo. I have a little ammo loadout here. You're going to have an ammo loadout when you use this strategy, and I'll show you in a bit more detail what that loadout looks like at the end of the video. Alright, so I forgot to do something in the tent. When you're inside of your tent, you can actually reload your heavy bowgun by using a technique where you swap to a different heavy bowgun, and then you swap back to your original heavy bowgun, and when you do that, it reloads all the ammo. I forgot to do that, but it's not a big deal. We reloaded before we went out to the fight. One of the interesting things about fighting Arch-Tempered Nergigante solo, you get 50 minutes to do it. So you have an enormous amount of time in order to solo him, and what that means is, really, if you wanted to, you could refuse to fight him except for when your mantles are back. You can use that strategy. That would be even cheesier. It would be for people who are really, really struggling against him. But yeah, you could definitely use that method. I don't use that method because I'm a little more confident. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm firing my sticky ammo. So when you don't have your mantles up, a more defensive strategy for damaging Arch-Tempered Nergigante is to stick to the sticky ammos. The sticky ammos, they're easier to guard with, they're easier to stop firing so that your shield begins, right? Because you can guard with the heavy bowgun. I notice over here we've got a Gashalaka. So I run over to the Gashalaka and they pop up, and when the Gashalaka pop up, the monster gets knocked down, and you get this long knockdown where you just get to deal tons and tons of free damage on them. Now, in your run, you may not get Gashalakas. They can appear in more than one area on the map. The Gashalaka, you'll see him there. The key thing to look out for is if the Gashalaka is standing on the cliff with the horn, he's just kind of up there dancing like, come over here, right? We want to knock him over. Alright, so we got the little bonus from the Gashalaka. Now we got to be careful, but we're not really too worried, are we? We have 3 lives, and we've got the Fortitude skill, and we haven't died at all. So we're not really that scared of him. The KO just knocked him out of the air before he could finish his dive bomb. That means he's going to try to dive bomb right away again when he gets back up. Also, another nice thing about this method, the cluster bombs are going to completely ignore the fact that he has black spikes. That's because Wyvern ammo, sticky ammo, and cluster bombs are all considered explosive damage, and they don't care about his zone values, so they're always going to deal the same amount of damage. Alright, he's all angry. He used his dive bomb on me, but he didn't kill me. And we're just going to kind of back up, and you can see I'm going to go ahead and set up some sleep ammo on him. I'm using the sleep ammo level 2, so this is a bit stronger. I'm just going to, oh, there we go. What am I doing? I'm putting my temporal mantle back on because it just became available, and we're right back at it. Here's a ledge that I can use to quickly reload. That's a fast reload, faster than normal. And we're going to fight him by the ledge just because of that reload. Alright, that was unfortunate. He moved out of the way before the cluster bombs landed. So I kind of fired right on top of myself there because I kind of knew he was going to come close to me. That's what I've learned about Arch-Tempered Nergigante. Even when he's far away, if he's aggroed to you, he will be there very shortly. Like within moments. Alright, and we're just going crazy with those cluster bombs. We don't really care about anything else. We've got Temporal Mantle on. There's nothing he can do to us. So we're just going to get as much of our Cluster Bomb ammo out as we can while the Temporal Mantle is active. And really, you couldn't do this in multiplayer. If you tried to do this in multiplayer, the problem you're going to run into is those Cluster Bombs, they cause knockback on your teammates. They actually deal a little bit of damage to your teammates, and your teammates get knocked back far away in a long animation. And this is a big loss of time for your teammates, right? Because they should be attacking the whole time. So if you try to use a cluster bomb in multiplayer and you knock your teammates away, let's say 2 or 3 of them, you lost out on all the damage your teammates would have done. And what ends up happening is you actually lose damage. So I knew he was going to come back up this hill because I could see on my map that he had the skull icon. The skull icon means that the monster is ready to head to their nest and go to bed. So I knew he was going to come right back up from that hill as soon as he went down there, and we were ready with the sticky ammo level 3 to cause another KO knockdown. And here we are, just going crazy with all of our ammo. I ran out of the cluster bombs there, so I jumped right over to the Wyvern ammo. I have some cluster bomb level 2. I have to be careful not to hold down the aiming button. That would be left trigger for me, because if I did aim, I would go into the I guess it's kind of like a mortar position when you're aiming the cluster bombs. And when you're in that mortar position, you're not really guarding. So I was careful not to push any buttons, careful not to aim because I didn't want to be in that position. He would have killed me if I did. Alright, we're still poking him with this sticky ammo. We've managed to stop his retreat again because we've dealt enough damage to cause him to flinch. That's what happened there. We caused him to flinch. And when he flinches, he decides to stop retreating. We're just shooting our sticky ammo at him. Both of our mantles are down. We're not in any kind of race, right? We have 50 minutes to defeat him solo. At best, we just want to defeat him in a reasonable amount of time. It would be kind of silly to try and solo a monster if it's faster to do it in multiplayer, but really this is much easier than multiplayer. I did multiplayer for like about 6 hours, a little over 6 hours, just the day before I did this run, and compared to that, it's a joke how easy this is. This is so much easier. I don't know, it's probably because he has so much more health than multiplayer. Alright, reloading our ammo there with another jump, and we're aiming at his head, cause a knockdown. It's not guaranteed we'll get a knockdown, we're just aiming at his head though. He's gotten real angry, he's going to go ahead and get us with the black spikes, and we are going to live through it just like we usually do. Reload our weapon again. He's getting real aggressive. That's the thing about Arch-Tempered Nergigante. As the fight progresses, he becomes more and more aggressive. His moves kind of, I don't want to say they evolve, but he uses the more dangerous ones more often. He's got a lot of new jump attacks, Arch-Tempered Nergigante. And we're just firing. We got some luck there with the spare shot. It landed over and over and over again. Alright, so we finally fainted, and if you watch, you'll see Fortitude proc when I stand up. Just watch. There it is, Fortify. So basically what Fortify is doing is it's giving me a whole bunch of defense and it's giving me a whole bunch of offense. So I come back actually a lot stronger than when I just before. The other interesting thing is this whole time I've been playing with the meal and 10 minutes have gone by, so I can just go eat another meal. Here it is. There it is, another meal. I'm just going to go with the meat platter. It's going to give me attack up large. This is rare for the cluster bombs. The cluster bombs don't work like other explosive ammo types. The attack up large actually seems to affect them pretty fairly. But normally, if you didn't want attack up large, you would probably eat Moxie, because this monster, he's very weak to the Moxie skill. The Moxie skill, of course, if you take enough damage that it would normally kill you, you survive with 1 HP. This is very effective against Arch-Tempered Nergigante, actually. So if you're feeling like you're almost done with the solo and you can easily obtain Moxie, just go for Moxie. Alright, so he's going to be asleep when we reach him in his nest. We're going to get one wake-up attack on him. There he is. Hello, Arch-Tempered Nergigante. It's time to blow you up. We got our Mega Barrel Bombs. Highly recommended. We're going to put Rocksteady Mantle on because it's available. And again, what you could do is, let's say that you only have 1 life left. You've got 50 minutes, really. So what you could do, you could just sit there and wait until your Temporal Mantle is back and only play with Temporal Mantle. I'm telling you, you could really do it. You could get away with it. Alright, he's going to be angry. We're going to ignore the roar because we have Rocksteady Mantle on. And I'm firing those cluster bombs and not really worrying too much about what he's doing next. There he is using the dive bomb on me. Again, I was able to easily guard that. We got the 2 iron wall decorations on this build, I believe. Maybe if we were missing those iron wall decorations, we wouldn't have enough stamina. So now I'm firing the sleep ammo 1 at him, because we're going to put him to sleep again. Alright, more cluster bombs. Oof, a lot of damage there. And I've decided what I'll do is, instead of healing, we're going to fire our sleep ammo 2 at him. This is the strong stuff, right? And he is finally going to sleep. Nothing he can do about it. This is our second time we put him to sleep, so it's really not too hard on the second go if you've already built up some sleep damage to him, and that's what we did. If you recall, earlier in this stage 2, we actually did shoot him with the sleep ammo, so he was already a little bit sleepy. Alright, I'm just kind of setting up before we wake him up to have everything ready to go in case there is a bit more of a fight, but I already kind of suspect the fight's over. Here it is, and that's it. The wake-up attack killed him. So, I gotta be honest with you, skill level, 0. I mean, the whole fight was very, very easy. As long as you kind of understand heavy bowguns, and you kind of understand Temporal Mantle, as if that takes any understanding, and you've got an understanding of how to craft ammo, you can cluster bomb this guy from beginning to end. I lost 1 life. I didn't even have to lose that life. I could have just been more defensive if I wanted to. You can wait for that Temporal Mantle to come back. You can wait for the Rocksteady Mantle to come back. There's no rush. 50 minutes. You can use your sleep ammo on him multiple times. Very easy fight. Remember, I even missed the first boulder in the fight. So, excellent strategy for those of you who are having trouble in multiplayer and you want to go defeat them in solo. Alright, so for the build, you'll notice I have a number of defensive skills. I have Health Boost, I have Divine Blessing, I have Guard, I have Fortify, and all of these are helping me stay alive while I'm fighting him solo. But let me say this, Fortify is the most important of the defensive skills. What it's really doing is every time I die, I get a large boost to attack and I get a large boost to defense. Health Boost, I would say, is probably the second most important. I have a number of damaging skills. The most important damaging skills here are ammo up. This is giving me 2 shots of cluster ammo level 3, and the other really important skill, of course, is spare shot, which occasionally gives me a free shot of cluster ammo level 3. Slugger is helping me with the sticky ammo, causing KO sooner. Artillery is helping the wyvern ammo and the sticky ammo deal more damage. So this is, most of you who've used cluster bombs, this is a pretty recognizable defensive cluster bomb build. You could also go with the pure offense cluster bomb build if you want to defeat them faster, but then you're kind of risking dying sooner, so this is really more for speedrunners, I would say, or just people who are very confident in the fight and confident in their skills. The mods are going to be double recoil and 1 shield mod, by the way. Alright, and that's the whole solo build. If this helped you defeat Arch-Tempered Nergigante solo, don't forget to leave a like on the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.